Freedom, everyone. I thought I'd give you an update on the freedom movement in general, but I was just watching tonight and you guys are going everywhere across the whole spectrum. But those that have a pen, I want you to write this down. theylie.ca. So you're going to go on that website, theylie.ca, and you're going to see all kinds of brochures, flyers that you can use, up-to-date information on all those topics that you were talking about. And then I'll start with the first thing you're talking about, the Indigenous peoples of Canada. So you were just saying how to approach them? Just approach them as a human being. We're all under the Great Spirit. You respect the four winds of wisdom, of course. Now, to kind of give you a little bit of an update, now there are several things that are involving the Indigenous communities right now. The first one is that everyone familiar with a bill called Bill C-53? Yeah. Anyone familiar with that? So Bill C-53, it still hasn't been cleared, but what that is recognition of several different Métis bands. Okay? Now, this is across the country. I'm going to try to do, it's a complicated thing to talk about, I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So they're hereditary lands, okay? And some of these Métis people, Métis tribes, are going to claim lands everywhere under their tribe. But some of those are hereditary lands. So there's larger bands, older bands, that, you know, they were the caretakers of. Right. So there is a bit of division within the Indigenous community, and then it gets divided a little bit further. Everyone's familiar with UNDRIP? Everyone knows what UNDRIP is? No, you don't know UNDRIP? So UNDRIP is an initiative from the UN in which Indigenous peoples of the world have the right to self-determination, self-government, and self-reliance. So that's a big thing to talk about, which in essence what that means is certain Indigenous tribes and bands can claim their land for basically self-government. Now you're going to see a lot of things coming around about people being fearful of their lands being taken away under land claims. Well, in theory, that's kind of possible. What most likely would happen is you hold on to your land for one generation, and then after that, that goes back to the band. Okay? So there's a lot of outreach going on right now, because of course this is under the UN. And there's groups saying, oh, well, we'll grab the land and then we will just say, no, we won't honor the UN. Well, that's going to be very difficult to do, isn't it? Because we know what the UN wants. The UN wants a world government. Okay, so these are why we're reaching out and we're discussing these things. So we act as one people for this country. But that's a larger thing. For a group like yourselves, a lot of the things that you're talking about, the answers are actually inside you. Right? You know the issues, right? And you're talking amongst the issues amongst yourselves, but you're not talking about them. So now it's time, you know, you have to take your effort, and you have to rally, and you have to go out to the community. This is where it's at. And what you're going to talk about when you get out to the community is stuff that's relatable to everybody. Impoverishment, censorship, those are the two big things. And what we're paying for the cost of living. We are, in the entire free world, we have the highest cost of living than any country on earth. Our debt is actually higher than our GDP. In essence, we are worthless. Okay?
Less than worthless.
Less than worthless. Less than, absolutely, we're less than worthless. You talk to somebody out on the street, they'll understand this very simply. 65% of this country has less than $500 left over at the end of the month. Now, how can a country go on like that, right? How can it? How much more debt are we able to assume? How much more credit cards are you able to do? So these are the things that are relatable to everybody else. Then you're going to talk, everyone was familiar with the ruling 3 weeks ago about the Emergency Act. It was ruled unconstitutional. It was ruled unconstitutional. Bank accounts were frozen, and basically, our government weaponized the police force against its own people. Where do you see that? Where have you seen that in history? Third world countries, China, totalitarianism, everything goes on the line. That's the first step, when the state weaponizes its forces against its own people. So back in the day when I was in, Canada was one of the greatest peacekeeping nations on earth.
Right.
And with that one decision, Justin erased that entire history. Gone. Scarred it. Destroyed it. Right? So it's up to us Canadians now to start communicating with everyone out there. But going back to the Emergency Act, they'll appeal it in the Supreme Court, they're going to lose. But he's got one thing better now than the Emergency Act. You know what that is?
Censorship bill?
That new bill that he introduced today. He doesn't need the Emergency Act with that, does he? He doesn't need it. Because he'll just put you in basically a prison without bars. Done like that. No Emergency Act. So these are the things that we got to start thinking about. These are the things we got to start telling everybody else. So I see so much energy in this room. Now it's time to take that energy out on the street. Find a corner, public park, lots of traffic, get those flyers, get those druthers, and start handing them out. Now I know it's a little bit of a drive, but if you have time this Sunday, there's rallies in Brampton, there's rallies in Mississauga. So we've been doing these now for more than 2 years. More than 2 years. And you'll see what the response we get. So if you come down and see that, and then we'll actually come up here. We will come up here and help you get started here. Okay, because it's time. There's all this energy, all this knowledge, but it's only within these walls here, right?
Yeah.
It's only within these walls. Look at your energy. You know what we're talking about. You just have to do, get that energy out there, right? Because talking amongst ourselves within these walls now, and it's not going to get us farther now. We're coming right down to it, right? We're coming right down to it. And on a greater scope, when you start talking to people, you see the Justin Trudeau government here, or the government that we have right now, for the first time in history, not only is it the most corrupt government, it's also a crime syndicate, because it's gone way over above any organized crime family or organization in Canada that's bringing up, we're talking billions of dollars going to unnumbered companies, the ArriveCan app. They've operated as criminals. But what they have done is they've shown every loophole in what we would be a parliamentary democracy. Every single loophole in the system. He's used and he's perverted it, along with him and Jamie Singh. Right? So this communication, this censorship bill, outlandish as it is completely contrary to our Bill of Rights and our charter. Chances are it will get through. It will get through. We have senators that have been appointed over years. There's senators on there that have been a senator for more than 35 years. Can you believe that? More than 35 years. And Justin's appointed another 4 a few months ago. So you know that they're liberals, right? So along with the greater picture is we got to start talking to people that now it's time to start looking at a referendum on certain things. And many conservatives know this as well. But before we take a big swing, we got to get these things into the ether. We got to start talking about an elected Senate, an independent Senate, with equal number of seats across the province, even seats for our Indigenous. So these are things that you got to start putting out there, because we can't have this thing happening into us, right? So we got to take all this energy that you have in the room, and we got to get it out on the street and start engaging people, because they want to be engaged. They want to be engaged. They do. Because I go back 2 years ago, Mississauga, they drive by us and we have people stopping, it's loud, the horns can't come, people are coming up. Just this past week when I did that thing in the Parliament, all I haven't even returned some of them. I got some from last Friday. just regular people outside the food group and ask them how to get involved. So the appetite is there. So it's not time to strike. All right, so.
My approach sucks.
What's your approach?
I don't know, my dad doesn't want to hear it, my mom doesn't want to hear it, my brother says, sure, if that's what you believe. My best friend's a town councillor in Keswick. She wrote me off when I came to her with some of my concerns about the weather manipulation. I feel like whatever I'm doing, it's like with my friends and family, it's not working. Like I need some coaching.
It doesn't work with friends and family.
I need some coaching.
Sometimes you have to leave the information out. Now you talk about the weather and things like that. I agree with you. I know what they're doing with the weather manipulation, but you got to go back to what I just said before. Keep it very simple. Talking about the impoverishment, the debt levels, the taxes, the corruption. Right? So you got to think price of food, just the price. Inflation, everything is going up. Right? So you gotta, you know how you get a squirrel, right? You don't chase after the squirrel. This is how you have to treat it. Step at a step, at a step, at a step. The brothers helps. So.
Totally.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, that website I showed you, the Soji thing, that's something tangible that they can see that they're not gonna agree with, right? And once you create that crack in the dam, everything else starts to follow. The other thing I use too is, I say, so are you on your 9th vaccine? Well,
Good one, good
you're
opening.
following the orders from Canada, that's where you're supposed to be at. I think it's 9 or 8 or something like that. And then they say no, and you say, well, why not? You were told to. What made you change? And then they have to do some reflection. So it's not just you talking to them, they have to think, why did I stop? What was that reason that made me stop? What was that feeling, right? And then you cultivate that feeling with other examples of like, this isn't right, like the economy or what have you. But you gotta get into their heart a little bit and make them think before you start preaching, right? They have to want to be open and accepting information.
She's ready for a rally, isn't she?
Oh yeah.
You've got to come down to one of our rallies.
I went to Toronto and they put me right in the front lines and gave me one of those big speakers.
There you go.
No surprise there.
I have to say though, friends and family are the worst.
Yeah.
Because they know you and you're not an expert. What the hell do you know?
No, but I'm
But
successful.
let me finish, because I've done that. And
That is what I've been studying. That is what I'm an expert at.
Well,
This other
that's
stuff
good.
is like.
So study to know their brothers, but it's quite simple. It's just the regular economic conditions out
These
there
are
right
great.
now. Those are the things. Rent,
Yeah.
mortgage
Lunch,
rates, food. That's your big
They
thing.
know,
Food.
and you always
Yeah.
have to give them something to read, like a piece of paper or whatever it is.
What you got to do is you got to say, so under normal circumstances, if you were leader of the country, the people are complaining about food, they're complaining about prices, they're complaining about fuel. Doesn't it seem wrong that our government's not? What's our number one topic for our government? Everything is ideology, isn't it? Everything is thought police. That's the most important thing. All the other problems in this country don't exist. And they keep adding taxes on taxes on taxes. So these are small little things that you can start talking, and you put that flame in their mind. And they said, yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
they give it
And it goes beyond partisan politics. We're well beyond partisan politics. We are on what is right and what is wrong. Okay? And everything they're doing is wrong. Okay? It doesn't matter liberal, NDP, conservative at this point. We're in a battle of right and wrong, righteousness and what is wrong. Okay? And courage is the big thing. So people, unfortunately, this is nature, there's only few that go first, right? And everybody else, then there's the second pack. They want to go, they want to move, right? But they're waiting for someone else to take the first step. So you guys being here are the ones that take the first steps because you're here, right? You're here. They're there, they know what's going on, but they're still looking for someone to take the step. So unfortunately, in life, there comes a time when you have to be courageous. And those ones that are courageous are the ones that are going to go out there first. It's just natural law of humanity. So you get some energy. You guys know what you have to do. Expand this group. This group is really good group numbers to start. The last time I was here too, you had really good numbers. So there's an appetite out there. So now you got to start reaching out. So, and don't forget, every other second Saturday you can also go to Shelburne, which is a little closer, because you can go straight across the 89 and you're right in there. You can keep driving straight across the 89 until you see all the Canadian flags, and then you're knowing the right spot. So that's every second Saturday. So that
So like past Alliston?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Just past
No,
Allison.
because then you hit a Dairy Queen, and then you gotta turn left
Yeah,
and right.
you turn, go through Alliston and keep going.
Yeah.
Just follow 89. See the Canadian flag, stop. Well, first say freedom.
Freedom and then stop.
Yeah.
So, and then
So it's not this Saturday, but the next. So, yeah.
that's activism, right? Activism.
I know my mom's like, you're gonna get yourself arrested.
Oh, I know.
You and me both.
Probably.
We're all gonna get arrested soon.
People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So just be really like open-hearted and open-minded, and just really be present for the other person, because if you remember, you're already still terrorized. Just if you remember in 2020 how terrorized everybody really was, and that's why some people are still driving around in their cars along with a mask to this day. Okay, they need to know that we care. That's the first and foremost thing. We are in this together. And even though people have been coerced and they're under military grade mind control, they still have a heart. And they need us like they've never needed us.
That's exactly it. Just being sincere as possible. That's all it is. Just sincerity.
And another thing I want to say, 2-3 years ago, you know, we couldn't even discuss about the jobs and the results. Like now it's easier. Like I know I have gotten through to my friends and family, because the people who have been jabbed are getting COVID over and over again, and the ones who aren't and haven't been jabbed are not, and they're seeing this. So now we have proof. We have, what we didn't have 2 or 3 years ago even in the discussions, we have proof saying, you know what, we all didn't keel over. We're okay. You know, the people that didn't get jabbed, they're walking around just fine. Nothing happened like we saw it. So there is more evidence out there than there was before. So we have the proof in front of us to dispel those fears that we didn't have 2 or 3 years ago.
That's right. Everyone know who Dr. Shoemaker, Dr. Trotsy is?
Yes.
Yes, you know the other doctors as well, right? So that's on Daylight as well, so you get that out. There's articles on there, you show that to them. Because they are, people, I can tell. Everyone know what myocarditis is?
Yes,
Right?
we do now.
You do now.
Never heard it
Never heard of it before. So that's why you tell them. So why do you think myocarditis rates have gone up 520% in 2 years? Right?
Yeah.
Well, what's the coincidence of that? Right? Heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, rapid cancers. Right? These are all things that have been documented.
Now, the vaccines.
Yeah.
So like I was saying before, I do feel we're getting to a tipping point, because all the vaccine stuff is coming on mainstream media now. Like all the stuff that we've known for 2 or 3 years, like you saw that big report, it was on MSN, then it was on MSN again 2 days later.
And also
right?
Dr. Phil is talking about it on shows and stuff like that.
So if
He's
that's
not a real doctor.
No, but
that's coming out, and that's going to generate a lot of fear. Okay, because everyone I talk to now that's jabbed is like, what's going to happen to me? And you can tell that they're afraid. Okay? But before they thought I was a fool, right? Oh, yeah, whatever, you know, what's going to happen to you? Now they're scared, right? And the more that gets on the mainstream media, the more scared they're going to get, and the sheep need some shepherds, right? And
it will change for you.
the sheep that goes away from the pack or from the herd, you don't beat that sheep. You bring them back with kindness, right? And we need the sheep to move any agenda forward. It's all about the numbers, right? It's all about the numbers. It doesn't matter what race, religion, jab, unjab, whatever. We have to work together. That's the key. That's the key. It's numbers. But you can be the smartest person, have the best thing to say, but if you have no audience and no one listening to you, no one following you, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, that's what the United Nations are saying right now. We need to gain their trust back. I saw some clip.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, and she said exactly what you just said. She said it doesn't matter. We have all these big ideas. If nobody's following us.
So here's the thing. thing, if someone talks about the United Nations, how great it is, tell them they're trying to lower the age of consent to 12.
Yes.
Whoa!
That's on their agenda, to lower to 12. And they were the ones that started the SOGI thing to get into the school systems. I think it's now about 10 months ago. What they want to put into the school systems is incest, pedophilia, and bestiality. So that's what
And this is, I don't know if you guys have heard about this No Harms Act. So it's Bill C-63. This is the whole bill right here.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to read this one little bit so you guys kind of know. And I would really suggest that you write your MPs say no to this. Write your senators say no to this. So I'm just going to read you. Part of it is, a big part they quoted in this protection of children online sexual content for children. But they quote this part is the hate crime. It's in the same bill. So it says, offense motivated by hatred. Everyone who commits an offense under this act or any other act of Parliament, if the commission, which is made up of 3 of the offense, is motivated by hatred based on race, national, this is national, or ethnic origin, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression. So if online, this is an online act, so but that's in any kind of, like, even, you know, if you've got a website or something, that's an online thing. So if our expression is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to life imprisonment. So this is very, very serious that they're putting this out. This is life in prison if you are convicted of any of those offenses. And it's right here in writing. You can go look it up.
What page is that? What page is that?
Page 61. And, you know, it goes, you know, there's lots to this. But that's basically what they're trying to do. Out of all of this stuff, they're trying to get this hate speech indictable so that you're imprisoned. And it's not, I'm not kidding. So we have to write our MPs, we have to write our senators and squash this. Because not only they had C11, C18, censorship, now they're going to come after you in a big way. So beware, that's all.
So precious little time. They're coming up to a 2-week vacation, which means they should be in their constituency office. So here you guys have a group here. Just say concerned parent group, concerned parents of Newmarket. Get in there, get that receptionist, keep calling that number until you get a meeting. They'll give you 45 minutes. Get the best 2 of you. Go in there and say you want to talk about this bill. You want to talk about what's this government. You want to talk about a government not directly driven by ideology, but by facts, by what's happening, by the economy. Let them know you're there. Let them know you're there. So call, get an appointment with them, get that group going. If you are interested in coming to those rallies, so Sunday we're in Brampton at 10 o'clock at Steeles and Highway 10. We're there till about 1:32, then we go down to Mississauga at 10 in Burnhamthorpe, right up front of Square One. And the next Saturday, of course, you can hit Shelburne. Shelburne's every 2 weeks. So you can hit Shelburne as well. See what they do, and then we'll come up and help you guys. We have all the flags, we have all the banners, everything. So just come look, and then you guys scope out an area here with lots of visibility. We'll come up and help you. We'll banner it up, we'll flank this whole area, and then we'll start making some attention. So with that, freedom.
Freedom.
Thank you. Freedom!